I recently made a video exposing how your mind has been under attack by millions of different people and companies and how they're basically profiting off your laziness. Now, I had someone drop a comment on that video and I'm going to read it out to you right now. So I think that a lot of guys are going to relate to this. It reads, "There is one final problem. I agree 100% with everything you said, yet deep down, I just don't care enough and never really have cared enough to change anything. I'm like that one friend that you tried to get onto self-improvement and he goes to the gym and meditates a few times, but he doesn't stick to it and goes back to his bad habits. In fact, on multiple occasions, my friends have tried to get me onto self-improvement, but I've never stuck to it for more than a month. I acknowledge that the position I'm in is 100% my fault, but sometimes I feel like I'm meant to be a loser and I'll never get out of the rut that I'm in and achieve success in the same way my friends have. I feel overwhelmed, like there are too many problems in my life to fix, so I'd rather just sit around and mess around, try and numb myself and forget about them. I've been watching self-improvement content since late 2020 and nothing has changed in my life, except I'm at university now instead of secondary, so what do I do?" Quick 10-second pitch before we get into this video. If you've ever had any value from me in any way, shape or form, join my free Telegram group. You're going to get way more value and I'm going to help you in many ways. Link is in the description. This was a beautiful, beautiful comment, by the way. Thank you for typing that. And if you guys have anything that you want help with, drop a comment right now and I'll make a video on your dilemma. But I know the situation you're in and let me tell you a story about myself. So if we cut back to me around 1.5 years ago, I was watching self-improvement every single day. I was tapped in on it. I was doing 12-hour shifts at a warehouse and the whole time in my earphones I'd have different podcasts playing about self-improvement. Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Fresh and Fit, Iman Gadzi, like, you know the people, everything. Andrew Huberman, Hamza Ahmed, everything. And I was learning so much. I was actually learning amazing things. However, I would never take action. I'd wake up at around 9 a.m. and then I'd go back to sleep, wake up again at around 12 a.m. Outside it's raining. I'd be laid in my bed, right? And I'd get some weed that I'd left from the night before in my grinder. I'd roll it up secretly, right? Scared that my mom's gonna come up the stairs or my dad and catch me. I'd roll it up and then I'd get in the same clothes that I'd been wearing for about the past 3 weeks. I'd literally lie to my parents and say, yo, I'm going to meet a friend. And I'd walk down to the bottom of my street to this place that we used to call the spot, which basically was our smoke spot, right? I say our, but usually it was just me. It was 99% of the time, just me alone in that place, smoke. You have to cross like a little river to get across there, so my shoes would always get messed up. I'd still do it every single day, and I'd literally just be there playing some depressing beats in my headphones, freestyling about how depressed I am and how I need to stop doing this, but still doing it every single day, bro. And I did this for years. This was my life every single day. And now I've not touched weed in over 8 months. And it's not just weed that I've not touched. I've not touched any sort of intoxicant, and my life in general has just become way better. I finally stopped being the guy who just watches self-improvement and doesn't do anything about it. And I became the guy who actually uses the self-improvement things that I'm learning. And there's literally only one thing that you're missing. The thing is, bro, right now you've misdiagnosed the issue. You think that it's because you don't care. Or to be honest, you don't really know why you're not making it. You think it's because you don't care. You think it's because you may not be the type of guy who's ready to make it. There's all these different excuses that come to your brain to try and rationalize why you're not making the self-improvement progress that you want to. But there's literally only one thing stopping you. Only one thing. And the day that I realized this was the day that my entire life switched. The only thing, I was laid in my bed, high as always, laid in my bed scrolling, watching some self-improvement stuff, and I just thought to myself, okay, what is the actual reason that I have not taken action? It's been years. Why have I not taken action? And 3 words came to my mind. Don't be lazy. That's literally it. Those 3 words are literally the difference between you doing nothing and you making all the improvements that you think that you thought that you may not make because you think you might be a loser. And let me explain this in depth. Let's think about this logically. The only reason that you do not have everything you want is because of laziness. And I don't want you to try cope. Your brain's gonna try cope, come up with excuses. No, maybe my body's just not meant for it. Maybe I just don't care enough. If you didn't care, you would not be watching self-improvement for years straight. You obviously care. And as a man, it's basically impossible to not care about self-improvement, because if you don't care about self-improvement, you're not gonna get results and you're not gonna be happy as a guy. If you don't have freedom, if you can't get girls, if you are weak, you will not be happy. You'll literally be depressed, and we've all been there. So you do care. That's why you meant the comment as well. You think you don't care, but you do care. You're just lazy. That's all it is. And the thing is, bro, laziness is a feeling. It's literally just a feeling. And this feeling is the biggest destroyer of men. Andrew Tate says that there's 3 reasons that men don't get rich. He says there's A, being stupid, which is like less than 5%, because it's very hard to be too stupid to get rich. B, arrogance, which he says is most people, which makes sense because if you're going to take him as a mentor and buy the course, then obviously you have to think that it's your arrogance, right? That you're not listening to him, that's why you're not rich. So that makes sense. However, my belief is that laziness is the main reason. It's not arrogance or stupidity. I don't think you're too arrogant. In fact, I know you're not too arrogant to take advice. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent years listening to self-improvement. You're not arrogant, right? You know that there's people who are doing better than you and you want to learn from them. You're not too stupid, obviously. No, it's basically impossible to be too stupid to get rich. You are literally just lazy. That's all it is, bro. That's the missing step. That is what it is. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to acknowledge that it's not because of anything else. It's not because of your not caring. It's not because of you not wanting to do it. It's not because of your position, because of your brain, because of your race. It's laziness, bro. You're literally just lazy, bro. Are you not deep in the fact that you could have everything you want, but you are lazy? You feel a feeling and it makes you lay in bed it makes you take the easy way out instead of taking the hard way out. Because of a feeling, bro. And you're out here watching podcasts that are telling you men are logical and women are emotional. You're not a man, you're a boy. You're being emotional. You're letting your feeling of laziness destroy your entire future, bro. Think about that for a second, bro. Don't try to push it off on anything else. The day that I realized that laziness was my downfall was the day that I changed everything to Don't Be Lazy. There's a reason that this channel is called Man So Don't Be Lazy. Every single time I look at that, it's a reminder to myself to not be lazy, because even when you understand that laziness is the thing that's stopping you, you're still going to be lazy. You're still going to have times where you're lazy. However, the more you can remind yourself to get up out of that feeling, the better, the less likely you're going to be to keep being lazy. The day that I had the epiphany of Don't Be Lazy, I literally wrote it all over my whole room. I changed my wallpaper to this and this and this. I made all these different wallpapers of Don't Be Lazy. And I literally just surrounded myself by it. And obviously I wake up the next day, I'm laid in bed. I want to be lazy. And then I just look on my wall, it says Don't Be Lazy. I'm like, oh, no, I don't care, bro. I'm still going to be lazy. Sit down. Scroll. And then I just get more reminders. As I'm looking around, it's hitting me every 2-3 seconds. Eventually, you're going to stop being lazy, bro. Reason that you're not making progress is because you think that it's something else, but you need to take full accountability. You're not actually being accountable. Unless you can admit in the mirror and say, I would be making 10K a month already. I would already have a 10 out of 10 body already. I would already have the ability to get whatever girl I want already. But I've been lazy for the past years. If you can't admit that, then you're not going to make progress. So that's the first step. You need to admit that it's your laziness. And that's a hard thing to admit, bro. It's a hard thing to look in the mirror and say, yo, I've been a lazy guy. My parents worked hard to get me here, and I just sat down wasting the opportunity because of a feeling, bro. It's a feeling. That's the craziest thing. It's just a feeling, bro. It's a fleeting feeling, bro. Now, let me actually give you a bit of hope, right? There's literally only about 10% of people on earth who are actually watching self-improvement. So you're already there, top 10% wise. However, 90% of those people watching self-improvement are too lazy to ever make a change. They just watch it. That's 90%. So if you take action, you're going to be literally in the 10% of the 10%. However, right now, you're just in the 90% of the 10%. So you're not really, it's nothing special for you to be watching self-improvement if you're not taking action because of laziness. But now you know the issue. I've told you the issue. And one of the biggest things that you do when you're lazy as well is you basically just say, one day I'm going to start. One day I'm going to start. You procrastinate. And this was me with quitting weed. I was like, one day I'm going to stop. One day I'm going to stop. However, the thing is, right, when you keep reminding yourself of not being lazy, which once again is why the channel is called that, which is why you should have my notifications on, because every time you see in your notifications, Mansa, don't be lazy, you should be reminded, what am I doing right now? I'm probably being lazy. Let me stop. Every single one of my videos is here to remind you to stop being lazy. Why do you think at the end of every video I say, there is a time and place for each emotion, all but laziness. Don't be lazy. Every emotion has its time. You have times where you should be depressed, times where you should be sad, times where you should be angry, times where you should be horny, times where you should be ashamed, embarrassed. The only feeling that there's never, ever, ever a logical reason to go is laziness. There's never been a time in history where laziness has helped someone go forward. Every other emotion has helped. Laziness is the only one that is holding you back. So, bro, you just need to admit that it's laziness, bro. And once I realized this, it's not like I instantly stopped being lazy. To this day, there's still days where I'm lazy. There's still times where I'm lazy. However, the constant reminders make a huge difference, right? The more you're reminded, the better. The more you see a video that's called Don't Be Lazy from a guy called Don't Be Lazy, the better. When I had it all over my wall, it just kept reminding me. And eventually you just stop being such a lazy person. We're all so lazy. There are nerds right now who are literally trying their very best to make you lazy. There are guys on their computers trying to figure out how they can make the algorithm get you addicted and hooked and stop you from taking action. That is literally their job. So obviously, with the help of AI as well, and with these guys who spent 5 years getting a degree, 7 years getting a master's, all to mess up your mind, obviously you're going to be lazy, but you're not admitting it. So when you admit it, you've already got a step above them. Now you understand the reason that they're able to do this to me is because of my laziness, my inherent laziness. Now, the main point of this video is for me to just tell you what your issue is, bro. And I've got a lot of videos coming telling you how to fix your laziness, because there are literally, you don't understand how many things I had to do to fix my laziness. But obviously, once again, I'm not perfect. Everyone's lazy sometimes. However, in comparison to the average person, right, you can call me egotistical. In comparison to the average person, I'm nothing compared to lazy. My day-to-day, my worst days, right, in the past 8 months, I've been on self-improvement for 8 months. My worst days in that is better than the average person's best days. And that's because I've set my standards so high that even when I slip up on most of the day, I've still done so much. All of these little methods that I've helped with, these are all going to keep coming in videos, bro. And I've already got, 70 videos on my channel describing different things. However, this next chapter is basically going to be another level, bro. So be prepared, be ready. What I want you to do though, right, to prove to yourself that you're not going to be lazy, right? This is a challenge that I'm setting you right now, right? If you're too lazy to do this challenge right now, genuinely, I don't know what I can do, bro. because you know laziness is your issue. You know that you're not going to make improvements if you keep just watching the videos and not doing anything. I'm giving you a challenge right now just to prove to yourself that you're not completely lazy, that you're not a lost cause. Very simple, bro. All I want you to do is get a piece of paper and create a habit tracker for 1 week. That's it. A habit tracker takes you 30 seconds to make. If you don't know how to make one, the link is in the description on how you can make one on a video. I'll explain it very simply. You get a piece of paper. On the top of the piece of paper, you write 5 habits, right? 2 you want to start, or 2 you want to stop, 3 you want to start. So for example, I want to be on NoFap, I want to go gym, I want to quit weed, I want to do my electrician course, and I want to pray 5 times a day. Now, you're going to write down on the side of the paper the dates. So let's say 23rd of May, 24th of May. Make sure you write the dates. Don't put no dates. The dates is very important. Put 7 dates. Now, for the next 7 days, you're going to tick what you've done and cross what you haven't done. Even if you get all crosses, it doesn't matter. My challenge is just to do the habit tracker. If you get all crosses, it's fine. You still pass the challenge. Just make the habit tracker. Just to take a step in the right direction, bro. Take a bit of action. You can't just keep sitting here and not taking action. But anyway, yeah, this video, I've been recording for a bit too long. I got a bit too passionate. I'm supposed to send my edit to this video, and it's supposed to be 10 minutes long. I've been going for longer than 10 minutes. It is what it is. Don't be lazy, my boys. Remember, there is a time and place for each emotion or laziness. Don't be lazy.